Hello and welcome to another episode of Spheres of Influence with me, Ryan Hogarth. I'm your host. I'm a professional speaker and a writer and a researcher and author on anything to do with how social media, mobile, internet technology is impacting the way we do business, the way we go about building business relationships, and how business models are shifting. It's an amazing world we live in, and I like to talk to as much as possible people who are at the coalface of that change, who are right at the front of observing the change, involved in the change, and seeing it evolve. And today, I'm talking to Stephen Blades from Elephants in Main Street, and they're a business that do team building. We're going to talk about how that has evolved and how I guess new technologies are used to help teams communicate better, connect better, and build better teams. So first of all, on Skype from St. Francis Bay, I believe, is Stephen Blades. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Ryan. Lovely to be on the show. Well done with it.
Thank you very much. Steve, I think a place I'd like to start, I mean, team building's been around a long time, and you've been in the game a long time. So I'd like to get a sense from you, first of all, of how team building, as we think about it, has evolved. I mean, where was it? Where is it now? How do you see it growing, evolving, and changing?
I think it's a vital question. I mean, team building's been around for 70 years. I think it probably started in the US military. But today it's in a completely different league. It's moving at the same rate that technology is moving. It's moving in the same way that we used to use something called a fax machine or a typewriter, if anybody can remember those, to today where we've got high-speed broadband, we're using cutting-edge Wi-Fi, and in the same way, team building is evolving at an incredible rate. People often think about team building like an egg and spoon race, and I guess that's fun at kids' parties. But today,
Yes.
For corporates who are chasing very specific strategic intents and need a culture to underpin that, they need a different kind of intervention, and that's where we come in. We actually do what is called turning point solutions, and they fall into the category of team building at the top end of it.
I guess team building has a bit of a flavor to it where in the same thing as motivational speaking, where, you know, the classic perception of it, as you said, sort of egg and spoon races, and it sort of comes out of the 80s and 90s, and you go, well, why bother? Why do we need someone to come in and get us all excited and G us up, and then a few days later it's all gone away? So why bother with team building? Why do you believe, and you're very busy, so clearly it's something that is needed and is important, but why team building?
You know, I think it's a key thing to look at because that's got to be the decision before you spend the money, before you put the time across. I think what the team process allows is it allows teams to step away from the day-to-day machine to deal with the human emotion and reaction that really gets in the way of production issues. Many organizations and leaders tell me on a daily basis, they say the primary barrier they're having to deal with is this human emotion and reaction in teams. And so team building is like giving your team a service in the same ways that you would give your car a service, or you would maintain your home or maintain any other assets. So organizations that appreciate asset care appreciate the need to be able to pull their teams away and enhance them and ensure that they're in the best possible condition they can be in.
So is there in reality, you take a team away for 80 days, I beg your pardon, for 2 or 3 days, and they do activities, they do events, they do these things, and they're a hell of a lot of fun. There can be no question about that. But is there a direct correlation to what they're doing away from the office on a team build to how they perform in the office? Is there a direct relation, or does it connect?
You know, in 25 years, I've been asked that question over and over again. The answer is yes, and the answer is no. The answer is first yes, if you've thought through the process and applied the right kind of team technology to a problem. If it's well designed, well thought through, and deals with the issues that really need to be dealt with in a fun, exciting, creative way, whatever it might be, then it's an incredibly powerful process. Sometimes there isn't a direct correlation. Sometimes it's just an opportunity to let your hair down and relax, and that itself is therapeutic. What we do at our organization is around the world in different continents, we work with leaders and we help give them the best of both. So how can we make sure that there is going to be a direct relationship, a direct correlation, as you call it, between doing the intervention and being away and the performance back in the workplace? That's the position that we like to take. We call that a turning point, a measured turning point. At the same time, there's a vital need, and we know that people only learn and only change when they feel safe. And so having some fun is important about creating that safety, and repairing some relationships. And I think in life, something we've got to remember is that life is long and that we want to have good memories. And so part of those good memories is, yes, having some fun. It needs to be meaningful. It needs to be something that we can be proud of, that we can be satisfied. And for those people who report to shareholders and boards in different parts of the world, it must be measurable.
Absolutely. Now, is there a growing appetite for, we live in a time that, yes, there's technology. There's an amazing amount of technology. But what that technology is allowing us to do is to personalize it to, where individuals can have a voice, and they're increasingly more important in the general interaction of business and life in general. And the startup culture that's coming out of the US, and even in Cape Town, the whole new approach to business where they understand, okay, we have to think about business differently. Our cultures have to be different. And we really need to take a position of our employees being our workforce being almost first and foremost. They've got to do well. They've got to be contributing. They've got to be part of the greater mission and progress they were trying to make. From what you're doing, do you see that is there a growing appetite for that, or a growing realization that is vital to success?
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that's been interesting, and I'm not sure if I lost you on the line there, Ryan. One of the things that I find essential is that 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I remember after the first decade of working with organizations, they were starting to talk about a concept called work-life balance.
Right.
But today, it's really about lifestyle. It's about making sure that the work style and the lifestyle are integrated. What technology is doing for us today is it's allowing us to be, yes, always on. But how do we make sure that we have a quality experience that engages people, that also deals with the various facets of their lives? The way in which we connect today, the way in which we integrate, even our organization across 4 different time zones around the world has to be able to accommodate the need for people to be individuals, to live with their families, to have time with their friends, to do whatever they need to do and be meaningful contributors to the workplace. So there's an entirely new movement and way of working that has come about with the advances in technology that has brought a new need for appreciation and understanding of where people are at.
And okay, so you do see that as something that is coming to the fore. Often South Africa we can be a little behind the curve, but so you are seeing that as a growing realization for that need.
A tremendous realization. At the same time, particularly in different economic markets, we work across a number of different business sectors across continents, and I see that in some areas people are needing to be very, very cost conscious. So they say the traditional conference where we went away for 3 days, is that something that we can trim to 2? The kind of approach that we're taking is we're saying, why not use technology and run this conference virtually? So for many of our clients, we'll have 19 or 20 different countries participating using some of our platforms. And instead of spending the money on the venue, we're using the power of technology in an innovative, high-impact way to allow people to collaborate and really help them in many ways lead the thinking of how they can interact and how they can cooperate without having to be in the same physical space. Many of our clients are saying, will we still come to work? And, where will work be? And it's changing so fast.
Okay, well, now that you've mentioned or you've alluded to your programs, there's a couple that I was looking at this morning, and I think they're incredibly creative, and maybe you can talk to that now, where you're using technology in during the event, during the team build. So why don't you talk us through that, starting maybe with your first program, Blog It Baby.
Thanks, Ryan. Blog It Baby really came out of a need where we saw, after 15 years of helping clients really address their vision and align their culture with that vision, we did that in a traditional way. So often we would come to a conference center, we would put in 50 or 60 different computer stations, top-end editing suites. We'd bring all the toys and all the tools along, but we needed to adjust to the changing time. And people said, how could we use things like blogs, YouTube, Facebook, the various social media? How do we bring them together? The immediate concern that came up is that as leaders were coming into organizations and seeing the need for us to use social media, there was an instant concern. We could not be discussing our strategy, our vision, or washing our laundry online in the public domain. Issues around corporate governance, security of information, risk analysis came in. And so what we did is we put together our technical team and we took the best of things like a Facebook, like a Twitter, like a LinkedIn, and we had our developers build an integrated platform that was very robust and allowed us to be able to get teams to manage the future from the present in an interactive way using whichever choice of social media they were typically most comfortable with. And again, what's interesting is that our research proved that most intranets in organizations fail because they are made by someone in the communications department with the best will in the world who wants to be able to put a message across. But the problem is it's not owned. Why do platforms like a Facebook or an Instagram work? Because they allow people to share. They allow them to be the authors of their current situation and not the future. And so that's where Blog It Baby came about. It came about in creating a platform that allowed people to articulate where they were and where they wanted to be. And then most importantly, how they thought they could get there.
Now, is that something that's run over time, or is it an intense thing over a team build over a day or two?
Great question. It's run in 3 parts. Typically, it can be run in the same convention of time of a 2 or 3 day process where everybody is logged in. They could either co-locate or, as I mentioned earlier, be in different parts of the world. It is also run from a preparation point of view where we start the moderation and facilitation online, getting people to find each other, connect, and socialize the idea of using this platform, because for some people it can be quite scary. I had a financial director tell me the other day, he's not on this book face. He didn't say Facebook, he said book face. He said he didn't know his children did it. And so we recognize that in some generations, they say anybody over 30 is a dinosaur. So we have to socialize the process. So there's that preparation phase, which is extremely useful. And then after that, what happens is we transfer the platform either into our client's IT system or domain, or we administer it for them so that they continue the process. And this is where we found with many of our other programs, which are non-technical, but the same problem arises. How do we make sure that what we went away and did really comes back into the workplace? And that's the power of Blog It Baby. It allows us to transfer that platform that we co-created every day using all the wonderful social media that we love and make it a real part of the day-to-day interaction and planning for the future.
So the actual work of the team builder, what is done in that is to create that platform that is created by the team.
That's right. They'll be able to draw in and any of the modules live real time. In many cases, we set that up so that the time away on the session is really digesting who are we, what are our issues, what are our greatest challenges, where are our breakthrough ideas, how can we contribute, how do we see the future, how should we reorganize, how can we better service our customers, you name it.
Yeah.
And so we provide that platform for fabulous, fast, real-time interaction where everybody's involved, rather than death by PowerPoint where one person's up there killing an audience of 500 people.
Absolutely. Now, how does that differ from, because the other one I was looking at is social generations. That's another one of your products. So what is that, and how does that differ from Blog It Baby?
So Blog It Baby is a pre-designed platform that really helps people start straight away and begin to interact. Social generations is going to be a way for them to look at the different media that are out there and decide how they can use them and begin using those themselves, either as an integrated or discrete set of platforms that they can use for general communication. Typically, social generations would be a method that we either use before Blog It Baby or after or on its own. The Blog It Baby is an integrated platform that really gives our clients the very, very best choice of all of those. And of course, it's completely branded and packaged so that it looks like a natural part of the client's everyday existence, with the benefit of tapping into those in a private platform that is not in the public domain, but gives all the access features that you see in the public domain.
All right. So it's essentially high-tech high-tech team building that recognizes the importance of individuals and their contribution to the team and allows them to play their role, to make that contribution, and that's something that they can take into the future. So like with everything else, the world is changing, it's evolving, and so must all the activities that connect to that relate to that and contribute to that. And clearly you've understood that, you've seen it, and you're taking team building into the future. And as I've said, you're very busy, you're very hard to get hold of. I was very fortunate to be able to pin you down for 15 minutes today. So I wish you everything of the success, everything, all the success in the future with what you're doing.
Ryan, thank you very much. Thanks very much for having me on the show. And hats off to you. I've been following you from time to time on social media when I'm not dashing about the world. And I love the direction you're taking, and all strength to you. Thanks a lot, man.
Brilliant, Stephen. Thank you so much. So that's been my guest, Stephen Blades from Elephants in Main Street, taking team building high tech into the 21st century. This has been Spheres of Influence. Thanks for listening.